けど久しぶりにバイブス上げてこう嬉しそうできる追加
How's it going, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Castaway Anime podcast. I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
And we've been gone a while, but Bleach Bros rejoice. The best Bleach podcast on the internet is back with the beginning of the Arrancar Arc, episodes 110 through 118. And as always, if you enjoy the podcast and want to hear more of our objectively correct takes, registered trademark, then be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode of Castaway Anime. Crunchy, how we feeling?
Yeah, so as you established before the episode began, it has been 9 entire months since we covered the end of the Soul Society arc, and 8 since we covered Memories of Nobody, which it does not feel at all.
Yeah, the time has been going by fast. At the time of this recording, it is May 30th. We're almost 50% done with 2024, and it doesn't feel right.
Where did it go?
Give it back. It
feels like it's been 3 months,
back.
dude.
We've accomplished so much. You've put out 2 videos. I've put out no videos.
Look, it'll be a third sometime in June, maybe possibly if I'm telling the truth this time. And a
maybe
novel.
Possibly I can get a first out. Yeah, you in your defense, you have been writing a novel and you've gotten wage cucked.
I have in fact gotten wage cucked. Literally the other day, it was Monday, and then today is Thursday. So yeah, like 3 days ago. And then tomorrow, through the weekend, I'm gonna be working again. It's been a huge mess, but I'm finally working. And yeah, feels better than expected, but we'll see how long it takes for my soul to get sucked out and for me to become a hollow.
Well, I was gonna say, speaking of getting your soul sucked out, and not to imply that this was a bad batch of episodes, but we're back. We're talking Bleach. We're entering the new arc, the Arrancar arc, and I forget what number I had said before the last time we talked about it, but the Arrancar arc is as a amalgam the longest arc in all of Bleach. I think it makes up like a little more than a third of the entirety of Bleach, the manga at least.
Yeah, save for, I'm pretty sure, isn't it that 1,000-Year Blood War is the only arc longer than it? Because
I believe
pretty
so,
sure
yes.
That's the case. Yeah, so it's the second longest in the manga, and then obviously of everything covered in the continuously running anime, it is the longest. And I can see why, because it's like, this arc is firing off Chekhov's gun constantly. It's like, alright, so we had that thing in, this sort of like subtle through line throughout the Soul Society arc of the hollow side of Ichigo, and now we're getting that back in full force, all the way back at the beginning of the anime. We had the hollow that killed Ichigo's mom. That hollow's dead now, very suddenly. It is now gone. It gets killed by Ichigo's dad,
who turned out to be a Soul Reaper the whole time.
There is a lot of plot to cover. There is a lot that happens, a lot that is set up, a lot of new world building, which is, they're obviously retcons, but to be fair, that's like all of Bleach, so at this point it's kind of just what I expect. Like, it doesn't even bother me at this point. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, sure, it's interesting enough, I guess. Some things
what got
executed better than
retconned?
others. Well, I wouldn't say, okay, maybe retcon is the wrong word, but like, just things that were obviously not thought through at the beginning, like, oh, okay, that Menos Grande that we met at the, beginning of the first arc, or not very beginning, we were a ways into it, but the Menos Grande, it was actually the weakest kind of Menos Grande. It doesn't look so powerful now. Which, like, that's fine enough. I don't even really mind it. It obviously wasn't planned from the beginning. There is still the part of my brain, though, that's kind of like, yeah, you really escalated the power scaling a lot in the Soul Society arc. You kind of have to do stuff like this to keep the hollows threatening. So it makes sense. it's not even a bad thing, but at the same time, I do have to chuckle to myself and be like, yeah, that's kind of the position you put yourself in. You know, they're the foot soldiers now.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of getting power scaled, poor Chad, right?
Poor everyone that isn't Ichigo. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, okay, to be fair, Rukia, base fucking Rukia is back.
Okay, yeah, Rukia is back. She is shown to be extremely powerful, able to fight toe-to-toe with Ichigo, which I did like. Okay, so aside from Rukia...
Well, I don't know toe-to-toe with Ichigo, but she's definitely strong enough to take on some of the Arrancars.
Strong enough to fight alongside him, at the very least.
That's
which
better.
cannot be said about Orihime. My man Chad. My man Chad has been power scaled into irrelevance. I mean, Orihime was at least always irrelevant, and kind of had the most fighting she ever had in this arc.
Orihime got her first cool moment 100+ episodes into the anime. Well, more like, what, 70-ish if you throw out the Bount arc like we are?
Yeah, look, maybe she did something really badass in the Bount arc that we just don't know about because we didn't watch
Too bad
it.
it's not canon, bitch.
Yeah.
Every time they mention the bouts in the Arrancar arc, I'm just like, nope, that didn't happen. You're trying to gaslight me.
Funnily enough, it causes like a really specific problem in, oh god, what episode would this have been? Yeah, so this would have been episode 17, where they're fighting one of the Arrancar. And literally, you know, there's this explanation about, you know, Rukia getting her powers back because she was in the Soul Society, and it has the substance to make her get powerful by just resting in it. But then they have to add in the explanation of, oh, but why didn't this happen in the Bount arc? And I'm immediately like, that didn't happen. And that definitely, you know, for obvious reasons, was not in the manga. But the issue it causes is that the explanation ends up being so long that, like, by the time it's over, a lot of the tension that I, you know, had at the beginning of the the tension, like, entirely diffuses as their opponent just waits for Rukia to finish the exposition about an arc that does not exist. Canonically, anyway. You know, within the manga canon, it did not happen. But because
I was curious to see how the manga explained how she got her powers back, and yeah, literally just said, oh yeah, when I was in the Soul Society for so long, I just absorbed enough Reiryoku or Reishi, whatever the fuck, in the spirit world because there's so much of it there, as opposed to here that I just got my powers back.
Yeah, like, such a simple explanation in the manga that would have been completely fine. You know, we brush over it, we get like the bare minimum to be like, okay, this isn't a plot hole, I get what I'm picking up what you're putting down. But instead we have the Bount arc and the characters introduced therein, who every time I see them, they're like, it's this weird feeling of like the show suddenly being populated with a bunch of characters who, I mean, as far as I can assume, don't do anything in the future. Like, now there's a second plushie. Ooh, you know,
yeah, I feel like the only thing that's like looks like it's being carried over from the Bount arc into here is these new mod souls, which are the same thing that Cone is, but they're able to take more human forms for some reason.
Yeah, I don't even really know what their deal is, because obviously I did not watch the material to know what their deal is. So it's just kind of these random characters just walking around. Once again,
I kind of like
I
like Penguin Cone. I like Penguin Girl Cone. She's cute.
Yeah, I like her.
Not worth watching the entire filler arc for.
She does not seem like she's going to be relevant, and so there's not really a reason to watch
she can't be, so.
By definition.
Yeah, but you know, nothing about the Bount arc really matters. It's all about the Arrancars, and I will say, one issue that I have with it, just going off of this block of episodes that we're covering, I assume this will probably get taken care of in the next block, is that we kind of just we introduce Shinji and the Visored, who are these group of Soul Reapers who have shirked their Soul Reaper manity, for lack of a better term, by gaining hollow powers. No, not illegal is not the right word, but like they're doing a bad thing. You're not supposed to. It's forbidden to try to gain power this way as a Soul Reaper by donning hollow masks and gaining hollow powers to make yourself stronger. And they're different from Arrancars, because the Arrancars are hollows that kind of become Soul Reapers who do so by tearing their hollow masks off, and they go from monsters to having human shapes. And the Visoreds are trying to recruit Ichigo because he is pretty much a Visored in everything but name. Because whenever he has the hollow Zangetsu spirit in his Zanpakuto take control of him, like we saw at the end of the Byakuya fight, and had him go sicko mode crazy. Shinji is like, all right, listen, Ichigo, you've got the beast within, and I know that you're fighting so hard to not lose control, but think about it for a moment. Once you lose control, what are you gonna do? What about your friends when they get close to you? Will you be able to control yourself and save them, prevent you from hurting them? I don't think so, bud. So what you should do is say, fuck all your normie friends, come join us cool Visored bros, and we can, do cool Soul Reaper things together.
Listen, Visored Chads versus the Soul Reaper virgins, right? I made I made them the bad soy jack. Therefore you should join us.
It's too late, Ichigo. I've already depicted Rukia, Orihime, and Chad as the soy Wojaks.
But
yeah,
but
they kind of just drop off after the girl one. What was her name? Hiyori, the one in the tracksuit with the chancla.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I love her design so much. I immediately saw her and went, okay, this is gonna be my favorite character. As soon as I saw that she is like an easily angered girl with that design, I was like, okay, this is the best character in existence. I am hooked already.
Yeah, once again, Kubo do not miss with the female designs. She's blonde, she's
so perfect.
Small, she's angry, she's cute. She gets into squabbles with Shinji
like
all the time.
I love her.
Unfortunately,
I just want to drop kick her. She's so perfect.
Yeah, she'd drop kick you first. But they kind of just drop off at this part of the arc, and I'm sure that we just picked a bad time to cut this portion of the arc off into its own episode, and maybe in the next 9 episodes that we'll cover in like a month from now, they'll be back and more relevant to this whole Arrancar war. But as it is now, they are introduced and then they just leave. So that way, all right, fuck the Visored. It's now the Arrancar show, baby.
It is in fact called the Arrancar Arc, but I think what makes it a little more awkward is that fucking what's his name? I always
Shinji?
Blonde dude. Shinji, yeah. Dude, I should remember that because Shinji Ikari. But Shinji.
Oh yeah, this Shinji Hirako, and he's also slowly becoming one of my favorite characters, not for anything that he does in the narrative, but because in the dub, he's voiced by Roger Craig Smith, who's the current voice actor of Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's just doing his Sonic voice. So every time I see him, I'm like, oh boy, Sonic the Soul Reaper is here.
I'm trying to imagine that because I'm watching the sub. The Japanese voice does not sound anything like Sonic, obviously, but it's not even like a similar voice, so it's hard to imagine. Like I can't imagine it fitting the character knowing what the sub voice sounds like.
Well, see, the funny thing is that I'm pretty sure I got my dates right here. Roger Craig Smith didn't become the voice actor for Sonic until the 2010s, like I think exactly on in 2010. But by this time in the Bleach dub, it would have been 2009, I want to say, where Shinji would be dubbed in. Dub Shinji would show up in the broadcast in America. So this is this is the technically speaking, Roger Craig Smith has been doing the Shinji Hirako voice for Sonic the Hedgehog this whole time, as opposed to
True.
the other way around.
Yeah, but what makes it a little more awkward is that Hiraku's like last major act in the narrative that I recall is him being like, "Hey yo, Ichigo, I'm gonna train you, right? I mean, come on, hit me up. I'm gonna train you on how to suppress these powers." And then it just kind of doesn't happen. And then
well,
at least,
he offers not necessarily like he offers to like help him train his Visored powers, but he also does it under the pretense of, all right, I can help you, but you're gonna have to abandon your friends in the Soul Society and here at school and join our cool Visored gang. You gotta join the club. Yeah, you gotta get your matching Visored tattoo.
And I feel it felt awkward to like not do anything with that after immediately setting it up, but you know, maybe that's just a me problem. I don't know. But
I feel like what's going to happen, and I'm sure the comments and the Bleach fans of the comments are probably like roasting us right now. If I were to assume Shinji is going to join the fight against Grimmjow at the in the next part of the arc, and then maybe what I think will happen would be Ichigo will team up with Shinji to fight Grimmjow, but what I think would be really cool is if Ichigo, Shinji, and Grimmjow all fought each other in like a triple threat match.
Yeah, that would be cool, but I'm also not sure how much of a grudge, if they have any at all, the Visoreds have against the Arrancar. Maybe it would be like to save his skin though. Just be like, hey, you know, Ichigo, we're trying to keep you alive. We're trying to recruit you. But otherwise, I'm not sure what the, I guess what he would be getting out of it. Like, you know, has there
maybe
been a
he would be
rivalry established between the Visoreds and the
I don't. Maybe
Arrancars?
he wouldn't fight to. Maybe he wouldn't fight to kill him, but maybe to like, just like beat him up to be like, hey, listen, you're too weak like this, and I'll show you how much stronger you can become if you become a cool Visored like the rest of us.
That would work. That would make sense. I mean, I wouldn't exactly place bets on that happening. It's a neat idea.
No. That's what I would like to happen with knowing how Bleach has been going though. 100%. If he shows up during this fight, he will just team up with Ichigo.
Yeah, I mean, almost certainly if he's like to join.
Which,
the
in my
fight at
opinion,
the
would be the
last
less
minute.
exciting thing, but it's probably the thing that's going to happen.
I mean, come on, Bleach loves its characters swooping in at the last minute to save other characters.
Yep. Yeah, let me try to think of how many times it happens these 9 episodes alone. Let me try to scroll through my notes real quick. Okay, Ryukin saves Uryu from that hollow at the end of the first episode of this part. Ishin comes in to save Cone from the Grand Fissure. Let me see.
I know.
I'm not gonna
Ichigo
count Shinji
saves-
I was just
go
about to say
ahead.
I'm not gonna count Shinji saving Orihime and Chad from Hiyori because I don't think that counts. But yeah, Ichigo saving Orihime from Yami, or Yami, however you pronounce it. Yoriichi and Urahara saving Ichigo and crew from Ukiura and Yami. That's 4. There's gotta be Ichigo saving Chad from that one Arrancar that Rukia bodies. That's 5.
It happens a lot. Is the point?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the times. Do we count Orihime saving Chad from Yami? Does that count?
Sure, why not? I mean, she does put up the defensive barrier that holds for like a split second to, you know, stop.
All right, that's
and
6.
heals him.
Do we
I mean,
count
that
Ikkaku
episode was-
protecting Keigo at the end of these episodes?
Ikkaku saving Keigo.
Yeah.
What, Keigo's like Ichigo's classmate, right?
Yeah, the whiny dude.
I mean, I guess we could count that if we really wanted to, although
I mean, if
that feels like a
Ikkaku
bit
wasn't
more of a
there, he would.
stretch.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, to be fair, if he wasn't there, he would. He is being targeted by the Arrancar because he has slightly higher spiritual pressure than normal because he's been hanging out with Ichigo the whole time.
I mean, sure, why not? You could put it on the list.
All right, well, we'll do 6 with an asterisk, arguably 7. That's like almost 1 per episode.
Yeah, I mean, 6 asterisk with 9 total episodes. Yeah, I mean, at least half of them, statistically speaking, although one of them was like an Orihime saves Chad, Ichigo saves Orihime, and then Yoruichi saves Ichigo, Yoruichi, and Green Hat guy, I'm like blanking on his name because Bleach has a
Urahara.
lot of names. Urahara.
Yeah,
Bleach has
there are a lot of
names
characters.
to remember.
We are about like 70 actual episodes into Bleach. There's a lot of characters.
Yeah. Which means a lot of characters to save each other continuously.
All right, now let me ask you this because I just remember because you just mentioned characters. I remembered all the characters from the last arc. Who has the better design, Hiyori or Kukaku?
Hiyori or Kukaku? Oh god. Oh, that's... I think I have to give the edge to Kukaku, just because... I mean, first of all, messy hair, and just... I don't know, her design is so cool, and obviously so hot. But Hiyori is also a really good design. I like how much of a brat she is, but Kukaku... I mean, come on, Kukaku's the goat. Fucking bandage hair.
Yoruichi does give her a run for her money.
I don't know. It's hard to imagine anyone topping Kukaku.
Well, of course, no one tops Kukaku. They all bottom to her.
True.
What about Yoruichi eating for 60 seconds in her underwear ASMR?
I was stunned at how long that scene lasted. I did like it for the first 30 seconds, and I was kind of like, wait, this is lasting really long. Holy shit. They're harnessing their Misato staring at Shinji energy, all right?
They got to save budget where they can. Lord knows
I did
they
like
already
the
need
detail
to
that
from
it's
all
a
the
different dish each time. That much I did like.
They gotta save their budget. The Lord knows they need to because we're back in recap territory.
We're back in recap territory? Oh yeah, in the sense of it having a recap at the beginning of every episode.
Yup.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they had caught up to the manga at one point, enough so to invent a new arc, so you kinda have to. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, the recap, at least it's not like an Undead Unluck, which we covered previously, where it's like recapping mid-episode. For now it's just at the beginning of each episode and you can skip through it. I mean, Hunter x Hunter did the same thing. So I don't think it's too big of a deal.
I just hate when recaps are the thing where it's like they'll begin their recaps to tell you like the plot synopsis of like the entire show, like Soul Reapers are like the Shinigami that curry souls to the afterlife, and Battle Hall is like, yeah, no shit, this is episode 70. I've kind of figured that out by now. If you're gonna have to recap, just
like,
tell me what happened in the last episode.
To be fair, Hunter x Hunter, once again, did literally that. Like, it was the same recap at the beginning of each episode. I think the idea is if you're tuning into it randomly on TV, you get the gist before, presumably, like, not knowing anything of what happens, because it is in no way suitable to recap all the context up to that point. But that's like, I at least, I see the vision. So it doesn't feel too
maybe I am
condescending to me.
thinking with my spoiled I can watch whatever episode of any show I want brain in current year as opposed to the mid to late 2000s that these episodes were coming out in, and you had to watch them on, cable broadcast as opposed to just going on Minecraft and going on your Minecraft websites and watch them in Minecraft.
Yeah, in Minecraft, once again, please don't get on to us, police who won't listen to this and won't arrest us for playing Minecraft.
But yeah, so how we feeling about the Arrancars?
Yeah, so okay, so from a world building perspective, I honestly really like this arc because so first of all, with how the power scaling is very bad, but with how it is, you need to find a way to make hollows threatening again. Because for the longest time they have not felt that. I mean, maybe in the Bount arc they found some way, but in canon Bleach, I mean, the entire Soul Society arc obviously had like basically nothing to do with hollows. It was just
at
Soul
that
Reapers
point, if you
fighting other
weren't
Soul Reapers.
Yeah, now that we've got like shit like Bankai and we've established that most hollows are just like wild animals basically. If you're not a Menos Grande, then you're pose no threat as a hollow.
Yeah, like as soon as I mean, even in the like one, recap episode that I watched during the Soul Society arc, like as soon as a hollow appeared on screen, I tapped out. I was like, man, it's a hollow, dude. You can breathe on it the wrong way and it will die. But I think they did it in the best possible way because there are some fundamental issues with hollows, right? They're weak. Beyond a certain point in the story, they pose no threat, but also they are mindless. They are just, like you said, wild animals. They just do whatever, just evil wherever they be. Sometimes, I mean, granted, near the beginning, there was the hollow that was Orihime's brother behind the mask. That's what the point of the mask is. So you do get some interesting storytelling with it. Some of them are more malicious, but generally speaking, kinda just mindless, right? And so the Arrancar, they have wills. They are scheming. They have different personalities. They speak, right? And so to me, and obviously it's not just that they're Arrancars, but also the upper tiers of Menos Grande, which no way am I ever remembering the names of. Holy shit.
I don't remember what the other two classes are, but the important ones are the Vasto Lordes.
Yeah, they're like the top tier ones. And
yeah,
we've got a bunch of them as Arrancars on the side of Aizen. And the way it's reported is that, listen, if there's more than like 10 of these things, we're screwed. Like Soul Society, done for. Everyone's just gonna die. And then at the end of that episode, Aizen's like, all right, look around to your 20 brethren. And it's like, oh shit. That's one way of ratcheting up the tension.
Yeah, that was good. Although seeing characters like Rukia, who's been out of action for so long, come back and just one-shot one of them, it does kind of deflate it a little, but it looks like they're rectifying that with guys like Grimjow, who is doing the Kenpachi thing. The Kenpachi and the Byakuya thing, where they're so powerful, they're causing them to like shake and shiver.
Yeah,
and he also one-shots Rukia and impales her, so that's also a good way to establish how strong he is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on how funny it was that Rukia, once again, literally one-shot one of these guys, but they are very clear in saying immediately afterwards, that guy, he was so weak, we didn't even want him on the mission, but he just insisted on coming along, and now he's dead. I mean,
he was the annoying little brother. He was the no-skin that wanted to squat up.
Bro was... Listen, he thought he was everything. He was nothing, right? He put shame to the what was it? The Lordo something Lord
the Vaso
name.
Lordes.
The Vaso Lordes name. Put shame to our name.
Yeah, The Blood thinks he's on the team for real.
Exactly. But by giving them, I mean, once again, tons of power, making them a real threat to the entire existence of the Soul Society, while also giving them, brains, personalities, wills, that stuff, designs, yeah. I really like it because to me the most interesting threat will always be something that acts like a human, or at the very least, can speak, can make threats, can understand their opponent on, this higher cognitive level. That to me will always be more interesting than, and then the mindless wild animal did the mindless wild animal thing. Unless you go like full dungeon meshy with it, obviously. But the Hollows had run their course, I think, up until this point.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they're now back into the mix in a believable way. Yeah, it's not like it's not a concept that feels like it was invented after the fact. It feels like a very natural progression of the integration of hollows within the story. Like, oh yeah, an Arrancar is a hollow that is able to has grown like powerful and sentient enough to tear off its mask and then gain a more human appearance, a more Soul Reaper esque powers they gains on Pactos. And what I'd say my favorite one, and probably my favorite character design in all of Bleach bleh, all of Bleach so far, is definitely Ukiura.
Ukiura. Which one was that? I'm bad with names.
He was the white, pale-skinned one with the green eyes
that guy.
Came.
Oh,
with
that guy looked badass.
Yeah, with like the green face paint. And like
where it looks like he's
his hollow
crying.
Yeah, and like his hollow mask is like part of like a kind of like a helmet kind of but instead of covering the top of his head, it's like juts out to the side, almost looks like an antler.
Dude, I love all the ways that like you can still see the remnants of the hollow mask on the Arrancar. And it's like a different it incorporates it in a different way for each Arrancar, which I really like. Just a lot of creativity with the designs, which, to be fair, it's Kubo. You kinda expected that, but at the same time, it is still it's really neat. I mean, the designs are always good in this show.
Yeah, Grimjow's got a pretty good design. I like how part of his mask around his jaw is still there.
Yeah, I mean, I like his design. I just like all the designs that I've seen so far, for the most part anyway. I mean, there were a couple kind of boring looking ones that to be fair, have not had much action yet, so there you go. But, all the important ones have really great looking designs.
Yeah, and they're here on behalf of Aizen, and they're carrying out a mission. According to guys like Hitsugaya and Ishin, they're suspecting that Aizen is using the Arrancars to experiment and try to further develop the Hogyoku that it was able to tear out of Rukia. And they suspect that his goal is to utilize the Arrancars to, train them and develop them, study them and gather data in a way that he'll be able to develop the perfect Arrancar. And if he's able to develop the perfect Arrancar, then he'll be able to create like an army of Arrancars, and alongside armies of Menos hollows, they'll be able to take over the world.
Yeah, I mean, as already established, these things are ridiculously powerful. And so, having an army of them, very, very useful, obviously. Aizen, the bastard schemer, he's back at it again. And this is what makes me understand why this arc is so long. Because, I mean, first of all, we've already established, like, the uber powerful threat. And on top of that, we have Aizen, who is, the villain at the end of the Soul Society arc that we've been building up for a long time now. We've got just tons of, once again, also the Visoreds. Tons of new world building details. It's great. It feels like a huge arc. On top of that, we have the now cocked Chekhov's gun of Uryu's dad, of how that'll go. Which, by the way, his dad appearing is like super random, just in the middle of the fight, like, hey, son, hey, I see you struggling there a bit. But hey, man, I can give you your powers back. You just gotta renounce Ichigo and, all the Soul Reapers. Just listen, you gotta go full Quincy, man. Just reject them all.
Yeah, I mean, anything to get, best boy Uryu back into the fray, because he's a cool boy.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, he needs his powers back somehow. That was never going to be the full end of his powers. I just think that his dad appearing specifically was it felt very random in the moment. But, hey, in the end, it worked out because it's like an interesting narrative thread that we still have not resolved. It's just hanging there in the background.
They're setting up a lot of buildup. Tatsuki has been able to start seeing Ichigo and all of the other Soul Society, Soul Reaper stuff going on. I hope she gets her own power, because she's already been established that she's a fighter, and we've already got a precedence for people getting powers like Chad. So I hope that she gets her own.
There's no way she doesn't get powers, dude. She's so going to be like a major part of the narrative from here on out. If she isn't, I'm going to cry.
So.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Keigo, it looks like they're also trying to get him on board, and him I'm less excited for because he doesn't really have a stake in the narrative. He seems more like the comic relief.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they're trying to do with Keigo, honestly. I mean, Ichigo's friends have a bit of presence in this arc, mostly a negative one, because his other friend is really fucking annoying. I have grown
Keigo,
to loathe him.
I don't like Keigo.
Wait. I can never remember their names. Keigo is the one who's always like pervy and loud and obnoxious and talking like forever, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I hate him. I
hate him too.
A lot of the comic relief in this arc is shockingly bad.
Yeah, speaking of characters I've grown to hate, remember when Cone used to be sympathetic and had a really sad backstory?
Yeah, I
remember.
See, the thing is, before this point, like, I didn't even dislike Cone. He obviously isn't one of the characters with a huge stake in the narrative or anything, but he had an interesting enough backstory. And then, he becomes
and he served as an interesting mechanic for Ichigo to be able to use his powers.
Yeah, he's just like, I like that about him. I like that he was just this little scrunklo that everyone bullies. And now he's just a pervert.
An
that's
unfunny
what has
pervert.
Become of Kon.
His only joke is that, hey, I'm a stuffed animal and I want bitches on my plush dick.
First, why did the sex humor just get really bad all of a sudden? I don't think it was anywhere like this before this point.
Like there were definitely some jokes like this, but it definitely felt a lot more restrained.
It's like so overkill now.
Well, that's because in, canon proper, I feel like Kubo's like, okay, I know when it's time to, like, get into serious mode, so I'm gonna write Cone and Keigo out of the story completely. They're not gonna be a part of the Soul Society arc. It's just, we're gonna stand on business, and if there's ever gonna be a moment of levity, it'll be with something like Orihime says something funny, or we'll get guys like Hanataro, who's like a twink and a beta male, and he'll say something kind of funny. Or we'll have Kukaku do something funny. But here, like, the difference between the Soul Society and now is that the Soul Society had, like, even in its moments of levity, which were few and far between given how serious the narrative was at the time, they all had different, like, varied jokes. Like, Orihime would say something, kind of silly and airheaded, whereas Hanataro would be, like, a scaredy cat or a coward, and Kukaku would, like, bash Ichigo and Ganju's heads together. Here, the only joke is, hey, look at how we want to fuck these girls, and I want to feel them up.
I feel like it might be one of those moments where it's like, I mean, think about it from Kubo's perspective, right? He spent, 20 episodes worth of chapters writing, on Earth, and then immediately went to the Soul Society, which went on for like some 40 episodes worth of manga chapters. So even longer at this point than time spent on Earth. So when we get back to, home, right, you sort of, he's developed as a writer, he has different ideas now, and they're worse in terms of comic relief for these specific characters that he's returning to for the first time in a while. Well, with Kon specifically, and yeah, Ichigo's classmate. It's just.
I mean,
it's
Keigo's just been the
cringe.
same. I think we're just being exposed to him more often. Keigo was
Yeah,
always cringe, but
to be fair.
Kon wasn't always cringe. He started off sympathetic and sad, and now I want him to get his head torn off.
Well, see, you want to know, because a lot of anime have this. The classmate guy who literally exists just to be a friend that the main character has, so that you know that he isn't like a friendless loser. So, they have friends pre-established that aren't relevant to the narrative because they meet other people who are the main characters. And so, how you write that is that you don't. They exist and then you don't talk about them. Or you do it like Haruhi, where they just appear every once in a while, but they're like, they're just likable enough that you don't mind their presence, but just, but like have just little enough characterization that you don't want to hear more from them. Just do that. But what sucks is when they have like this really, energetic, bombastic, annoying personality like Keigo, and then you just want them to shut up. Literally, the joke is that everyone's sick of him. That he'll be a pervert, and then everyone just wants him to shut up. No one likes him.
Even like this, there's this one gag that develops within this part of the arc where the other friend of Ichigo, whose name I actually don't remember, the blue-haired one, who's also the dude who's around Keigo a bunch, he just starts calling him Mr. Asano instead of just calling him by his name. And he just makes a joke about like being more formal with him and distancing himself from him. Like, yeah, no one likes him. No one wants to be around him.
Ichigo doesn't want to be around him. His other friend doesn't want to be around him. Women obviously don't want to be around him, so that's like half the population right there. Other guys probably don't want to be around him because he's just embarrassing to be in the presence of. Why
the only
would you write
reason
him like that?
The only reason Ikkaku is gonna put up with him is because like, all right, if I save your life, will you give us room and board? All right, cool, bet.
Exactly. And so,
yeah, I also. What do you feel about this though? Where Chizuru, the redheaded girl who's always trying to get with Orihime, is I like to think of her dynamic with that and Keigo's in the story is Chizuru is like, "Aw, you're so sweet," and then Keigo's like, "Hello, human resources."
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have any comments on that.
I'm just making the point of, even though Chizuru kind of has the same joke, but she only does it to Orihime, I feel like it works with Chizuru because, well, first of all, it's a lesbian, so based. Second of all, she always usually gets like comedically punished, in like more extreme ways by Tatsuki. It feels like then Keigo just gets like hits once and he goes down, but it feels like Tatsuki gets like put through a wall or like spun a bunch of times by Tatsuki. And also Chizuru's antics are a lot more adorable than Keigo, because Keigo just wants to, cop a feel, whereas Chizuru is kind of, I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe without just making it sound like, oh, it's two girls, so it's okay. Which is a valid excuse.
Also, honestly, like, yeah, I guess the gags are just less annoying. And also she just has a cuter design, so I'm more willing to put up with her. I'm gonna be
Yeah, you're right.
for
You're
real
right.
with
A
you.
cute anime girl's doing it, so I will put up with anything.
Whereas Keigo is just, I mean, part of the issue is that once again, Keigo just was never supposed to be a character. Making him any character at all is a mistake. He is
Yeah,
there
and now
to be room
we're
decoration. Keep him that way.
We're gonna have characters living with him, so he's gonna be around for longer. And God forbid he develops powers like Chad.
Oh, good lord! It's that's like
It would
Bleach
have
on
never be
Nightmare
so
mode.
over.
More over than previously thought possible. Yeah,
I
but
cannot see that motherfucker. If Chad can't win a fight, I can't imagine this. I will be actively upset if he gets powers and then wins fights more often than Chad does. I will kill myself.
to be fair, I don't think it's going in that direction. If it does, once again, I will kill myself. But at the end of the day, like, he's so nothing that even, even the little he's been given feels like it can't go much
Too
of
much.
anywhere. Yeah, I feel like he's just going to be a side character for room and board for the actual important characters. Like Ikkaku and, like Pretty Boy, like all the other Soul Society guys. And he'll just be set dressing. Very obnoxious set dressing, but, set dressing nonetheless.
Yeah, but well, I do want to make one quick addendum. There is one bit of actual good comedy in this these block of episodes, and it's all from Rukia because Rukia is best girl.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple good bits. I laughed my ass off at the little tickle 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 that that she does to Orihime.
Oh, well, that was
what's her
Ron
name?
Giku.
Yeah, Run Giku. I mean,
That is boob girl. That is that's the
her
busty
character
girl
is
everyone
boobs.
wants. Exact, literally, and she knows it. She's the waifu that if your waifu isn't Yoruichi in Bleach, it's probably Ron Giku. Those are the two basic answers.
Yeah, but the Rukia bit I liked a lot, and I'm pretty sure this is the one that you were going to mention, is when Rukia's like, "Oh, I need to, stay at your place," and Ichigo's like, "Bitch, they saw you. My dad saw you. My sister saw you. Like, come on." You're not going to be able to sneak around like this. And so she makes up this story that she's like, "Oh, I need a place to stay. I don't have money to eat. I'm going to waste away homeless."
I love when Rukia has just pure gremlin energy. I love how she kind of becomes like she reminds me of not like as whiny as a character like Aqua can get, but like when a character like Aqua or like Megumin gets like that, that scrunklo gremlin energy and gets up to like devious, she skulks cantankerously towards her devious acts and will do things like that. When Ichigo asks her, "Oh, all right, Rukia, everyone else has gone off. Where are you going to live?" And she's got a big dumb smile on her face, and she immediately bolts into the house to run into his closet. And it's like, I don't want to sleep in a bed, Ichigo. I want to sleep in your closet. Like a fucking like gremlin monster. I even brought things like a lamp and a back scratcher and a little window for your closet to make it a little more homey.
She has literally gotten so used to living in the closet that it just comes naturally to her at this point. I love it.
Yeah, she's still doing her little drawings, and she's still got those big dumb eyes holding the book in front of her face, just enough for her eyes to poke out from the top.
Yeah, I mean, I loved that. I loved Ichigo's remark of, it would make even more sense without the drawings.
I love how Rukia, the very first thing she does when she returns back to class and sees Ichigo, just kicks him in the face, slaps him silly, and then drags his soul out of his body, and then compounds that with giving him the pep talk of, "Hey, if you're scared that your friends will get hurt again, or you could hurt your friends due to the hollow inside, then just promise that you'll get stronger and you'll prevent that from happening." And just gives her a cool character moment. She is the best character in Bleach.
I mean, yeah, literally, what you were saying about her just walking up to him, slapping him, taking his soul out, like, what makes that so effective is the fact that it's like this. I mean, great characterization for Rukia, but also like this.
Because
Trying
she
to
knows
snap
what's up. She
Ichigo
doesn't
out
have
of
to
it.
waste time with like a fucking long-winded dialogue, because she knows that's not how Ichigo rolls. She'll just roll up, horse around with him, then take out his soul by force, drag him out to do the things, and then like, because that's how she knows that she operates, or she knows that he operates. And that's why they're perfect for each other, and why Orihime gets jealous. I'm like, good, you should be, because you don't deserve him.
We're never gonna get off the Rukia and the Rukichigo. We're never gonna get off that train, that ship even.
Bro, Rangiku and Orihime have more chemistry in that one scene where Rangiku tickles Orihime and then tells her that she's valid in her feelings, and is completely soaking wet from the bath naked, got her like pinned down by her shoulders, leaning over her. More chemistry and tension in that one scene than Orihime has had with Ichigo throughout the entirety of Bleach so far.
I'm glad you reminded me, because that Rangiku shot of like Rangiku pretty much topping Orihime, I'm pretty sure, I mean, the storyboarders and animators have to have known what they were doing. They have to
I'm
have
pretty
done
sure
that deliberately.
that had to cause an awakening in some people, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. But I mean, the thing is,
if
Orihime's...
Kubo wasn't a hack, that would have awakened something in Orihime as well.
But Orihime, like, I like her character on paper. Literally, I mean, we've been saying this forever. She just needs some badass moments, man. Even
and she
granted,
does get one.
block that attack. Yeah, that was badass. I liked that. I popped off, exclaiming in my head, like, yes, finally, she gets something to do in a fight.
I wrote down in my notes, oh my god, Orihime has done the first cool thing since she got her powers.
Literally.
It only took, 50 episodes since that happened, but she did it.
Dude, remember back when she first got her powers and I was speculating in the podcast, oh, they're like tactical, these fairies that she can use and sick out. And it's like, she, while everyone else is doing the big sword swings, she's gonna be there, assisting, helping get the kill, man. I mean, it's gonna be so cool. She's gonna, tactics, and then she literally does nothing. It was like, it was the opposite.
She just becomes the healer.
Yeah, is literally the healer. And then other than that, waits for everyone else to do the fights for her. Except in this one instance
and then she
where
gets replaced mid-arc
Chad.
by Hanataro.
Yeah, it's a rough state for Orihime, man. But, we literally mention this every podcast. It's like a tradition at this point. Oh yeah, Orihime was useless again. What else is new?
Hey, at least she's fine. She had a cool moment and a interesting character moment about feeling jealous over Rukia.
I did like that character moment. That was humanizing for Orihime, and I like the way that panned out. So far, anyway. Except in that, she'll eventually get together with him. But hey, listen, it's not too late to salvage the Ichigo Orihime ship. You just gotta make Orihime a badass. On par with Rukia. Which is gonna be extremely difficult. But, you can try.
Orihime has negative Riz.
Listen, I like Orihime. No, I think she's funny. I
like her design.
That Rangiku likes Orihime's cooking when no one else does. That was that was a fun moment. I smiled. Everyone smiled. My withered soul smiled after being beaten down by so many bad seasonal anime. I saw that moment of humanity and a fun gag, and it smiled. It was pure sunshine. Orihime is still capable of these things. But...
yeah, I want to like Orihime more than I do. That's the frustrating thing. It's not like a Keigo or a Cone situation where I just want her to die.
Yeah, it's still salvageable. You just need to do it, Kubo. Come on. But I'm
Okay,
not holding
maybe
out
by the
hope.
time we reach 100 canon episodes of Bleach, maybe she'll get a certified, super badass moment.
Yeah, so that's about all I have to say about comedy, about Orihime. What's next on the list of topics?
Let's see. We've already gone over the Visors because they were only so brief. We touched on what the Arrancars are. Uh, here's a little side thing that I just want to throw in, because I don't see any other place where it can go. How the fuck does Karin know Ichigo is a Soul Reaper?
That is a question I had. I think it's going to get explained. Like, I can't imagine there not being an explanation for that, because, I mean, I imagine, she can also see the ghosts and whatnot, and so I think it had, like, I vaguely remember a line about that. And so she's
Yeah, I
just
remember that
seeing more
she
shit.
was able to see the things that a Hollow once in the first arc and help Chad fight one. But how does she know what Soul Reapers are specifically? She should only be able to know what like ghosts are.
I feel like there's going to be an explanation for that.
She
Probably.
she mentioned some character named Don Kanoji. Was that the Bwahaha dude from the first arc?
Dude, fuck if I remember. That was that was over a year ago, and he was a one-off
Yeah.
character for a single episode.
It sounds like I did a little looking. I can't remember if this is the same guy or not, but in some of the filler that we skipped, some character named Don Kanoji recruits characters like Karin to keep the peace as like a B team while the A-listers are away from hollow attacks. I mean, we do meet this one Afro Soul Reaper who is said to be Rukia's replacement for the district while she was away. I forget his name, but he he shows up and he does nothing. He just gets blown away when Ichigo and Shinji fight for a minute, and then we see him patrolling with and passes Keigo before Ikkaku shows up. Well, that's weird that he just passed by, and then because he had to have been able to sense the Arrancars.
Yeah.
I want to. I
don't
have a
know.
feeling he might be an anime original. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not sure either. I'm not sure what's going on with Karin's backstory on how she knows this. I mean, once again, I'm just assuming it'll be explained. It should be, because it's kind of an open question right now. But
I mean,
we'll
if
see.
we're hoping for Tatsuki to become part of the crew, I wouldn't mind if Kari. I mean, hey, there's a precedent now that since we know that Ichigo, part of where he got his Soul Reaper power must have been from his father, because his father has been a Soul Reaper this whole time. So that explains why he had such a knack for it. So since Karin and Yuzu are of the same blood, is there a chance they can become Soul Reapers?
I would not be opposed to Karin just because I love her design. Karin has such a good design, dude. It's great.
Yeah. And she's got a tomboyish personality, kind of headstrong, wants to help people. She'd be a
Yeah,
cool addition to the cast
she absolutely
of
would
actually
be. I mean, she
useful
literally
characters.
helped out. Yeah, literally helped out Chad in a fight. So, but there's precedent for it once again.
Let's see. I guess the last thing to talk about would be the Arrancars showing up and doing battle with the various guys. Like the only big fight that we get in this last part is Ikkaku versus volcano guy. I think his name is Leonis.
I don't know either. I am the worst person to ask for names, but I will say this fight is so cool. The animation suddenly just pops off.
I was gonna say I have no idea why Ikkaku is getting this the fight with the good animation, because we've not seen animation this good since the Byakuya fight.
I feel like it has to be this thing where like one or maybe a few animators got tasked it, and they're just like really, specialized at
They're they're
fights.
they're the world's biggest Ikkaku stands,
That would be great, but
and the world's
it's
only Ikkaku stands.
I mean, it just suddenly I need to research this. Like I need to find out whose fault this was and then
I'll bet you
congratulate
can
them
find
on a
it on
job well done.
Sakagaboru.
Almost certainly. I could even try looking that up right now. Sakagaboru Bleach episode 118 because it's so good, dude. It's such a good fight. Like for no reason, it just goes unbelievably hard. And the animation in even like the framing of shots, like Volcano dude just looks so massive in some of these shots, so imposing. Ikkaku dude, the shot of the spark going across the serpent on Ikkaku's weapon when he goes Bankai. I mean, that was such a cool shot. There's so much detail in the way the serpent is drawn. The shot where he's, you know, literally like wielding. Okay, so he has a spear. Like the way the shot is, it's like his hand is super large because it's really close, but then, there's just so much depth to it. Where his other arm is like super far away and it's sort of curving with, I guess, I don't even know what you'd call that effect because it's not quite fisheye, I don't think. But it looks super cool. And that's when he's, saying Bankai. His weapon looks badass as hell, by the way.
I don't even know how you'd begin to describe his weapon. It's like the best way I can describe it is that he basically wields the blade that you'd find on like a pendulum, like a pendulum axe, in the base with two like giant cleaving swords, held together by rope, on each end that he can spin around and make like a fan effect of swords. But then there's this dragon LED light loading bar on the pendulum blade, and when it's fully loaded, it unleashes the full power of the Bankai, which is it's just a fucking silly but cool silly visual effect.
Yeah, I mean, the idea behind the power is literally that this, the guy in his weapon just doesn't want to be woken up, man. He's a lazy ass. But when you finally wake him up, bro, he goes crazy, which is dealing with like the personality of weapons that I really like, which hasn't been explored that much in Bleach, honestly. There's a few times where it's had an effect, but not nearly to the extent of something like Soul Eater, which is my only other frame of reference, to be fair, where that's like the entire point of the show. But, just the personality of his weapon being like that is such a cool detail. The shot of the volcano guy's fist on Ikkaku's back, as the camera rotates. There's so much good shit, dude.
Bro, the fucking shot of Ikkaku's back where you can see the notches on his spine poking out a little bit.
There's just so much good stuff.
Yeah, the
Yeah, so
shading went
I'm
crazy.
looking. So it isn't. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly how many animators they got on, but I'm on Sakagaboru. There's so the shot that I was just looking at of Ikkaku, uh, yeah, with it, spiraling around as the fist is on his back. That's from Osamu Yamane, and then yeah, so this entire cut is Osamu Yamane, and it's like a minute, a minute of animation, over a minute,
God damn.
like over almost 2 minutes. I'm not sure if it's all Osamu Yamane or if it's just incorrectly tagged, and there's like more people on it, but it feels like something that would be like a few animators. And then there's also this bit that's like 30 seconds long, and it shows as Satoshi Ishino. So yeah, I mean, it goes crazy.
What else
Dude,
have
there's so
those
many good
guys?
shots.
That one Osamu guy. What are they known for? Have they animated any other like cuts for anything cool looking?
Okay, so I'm looking at it. Okay, so I'm looking at the shows on the side. It has 33 for Gundam, 28 for Bleach, 28 for Future GPX Cyber Formula, which I don't know what that is, but then 23 for Hajino no Ippo. Yeah, a few for that. So, yeah, a few well-known works under his belt, Gundam and Hajime no Ippo. And then apparently is like a returning guy for Bleach, has done a lot of cuts for it.
Well, if we see anything more like this throughout the rest of Bleach, we're in for a good time.
Yeah, it's stellar work. Like, unbelievably stellar work. I love it.
Yeah, and with that, I think we've covered pretty much everything from this part of the Arrancar arc. Unless, do you have anything else you want to cover real quick?
Not that I am aware of. I mean, we pretty much got all the highlights, all the things I liked and didn't like. Just good shit all around.
Yeah, it definitely felt nice to be back in the Bleach groove of just being able to crank out these episodes. And, the popcorn entertainment feeling is back. It's nice to have a shonen to just be able to watch a few episodes of in a day and be like, damn, that was pretty solid.
Yeah, Bleach is absurdly bingeable. Like, even, I stopped at episode 118 for the podcast, but I was feeling that urge to watch more, man. I was like, dude, I could.
Well, we definitely left off in a
genuinely watch
cliffhanger
more.
mid-fight with the Ikkaku and Volcano guy fight after he had just gotten his Bankai.
Yeah.
But I also want to see, Ichigo and Grimmjow go at it. How strong is this Grimmjow fella?
Just in general, Bleach is very watchable. I just like Bleach, man. I remember why I like it so much watching this. Even though we do complain about it a lot because, structurally, it's very flawed. There are lots of issues with it. But on a moment-to-moment basis, it is still Bleach, it is still really fun, and it even pops off with the animation.
Yeah, hopefully it just gets better than it gets worse from here. Because I feel like it's going to get a lot more intense and a lot cooler things will happen.
This is a really solid start to the arc. And I think it's a really good sign of things to come. Because the plot is only going to develop more from here. And I think it's going to be a really good time.
Yeah, and with that, we'll definitely be back to covering the next 9 episodes of this part of the Arrancar arc in about a month's worth of time. Because in the next episode, we're going to be taking a brief break covering the first Pokemon movie. Then we're going to go back to Bleach, and then we're going to do something special for episode 100. We're coming up on a big milestone for the podcast, so if you want to be a part of that, and if you enjoyed this episode of the Castaway Anime Podcast, let us know down in the comments what you think of the show and what anime we should cover in the future. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a new episode. Subscribe to Crunchy's channel. Check out all our socials linked in the description below. That'll do her for this episode of Castaway Anime. I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
And you'll see us next time.